everybody. It's episode 131 of the Holdback Rack podcast. Anthony's here. Chat's here. Let's do the sponsor shout-outs, whatever we call them. Spots. VetDNA.com for all of your testing needs. Use code SHITHAPPENS with the hashtag, by the way, for $5 off the crypto panel if you have poop that you needed to test. VetDNA.com for all of your testing needs. Let's look at what the sponsors told me. Shane Kelley, Small Town Xotics. He has new animals listed. It's like GHI stuff, clown, red stripe, leopard. They're pretty cool heads and visuals. And he's running a sale until Saturday. Small Town Xotics. Thank you, Shane Kelley. Bravo Zulu, she's doing the Midwest Reptile Show at the Indiana State Fairgrounds on February 25th. Check her out. She said the Fort Wayne Show Me show was very good. So we love that. I'm very excited. Some shows are slow and some shows are like popping right now. It's very random. So we're glad they had a good show. Go there and buy her snakes for her. Thank you. Bravo Zulu, ball pythons. Stoneage ball pythons. Justin didn't give me an update, so I have no idea what he's doing. He's probably breeding ball pythons, though. Let me just... So check him out for clown pied stuff. Andrew, Powerhouse ball pythons. He has lots of pairings going on. No eggs yet, and he will be on the auction this Saturday with Eric from Blackjack and Randall from Designed Kreations. I forgot your business name, buddy. Sorry. They're auctioning ball pythons, so please come support our sponsor. He needs you to buy all of his fun snakes. Gray Family Snakes. They're doing the Repticon in Huntsville, Alabama on February 24th and 25th. They have a few grab and females, so follow along on IG for more clutch updates. Lots of Xanthic DG, Xanthic Firefly, Snow Pieds, and their GHI Mahogany Clutch is doing well and should be up on Morph Market after the Repticon. And last but not least, Chris at BS Reptilia. He will be at the Hamburg. I touched my mic. He will be at the Hamburg show, which he called the Hamburger Show because it's a new location in Morgantown, PA on February 24th. And he has Costa Rican boas, Tarahumars, Longis all being paired, bloods as well. Follow for IG for pairing and locks. And the Pituophis and Colubrid crew are coming out of brumation soon. Very exciting. Thank you, Chris at BNS Reptilia. I did it. I only pulled my mic out once. So that's pretty fucking good for me, brother. All right, Anthony, how are you doing?
Not bad, not bad. Nice quiet day today.
All right, thank God. You're retired? Do you do this full time, or is this like?
Yeah, pretty much.
You're okay. Yeah, I didn't know when I asked you. Like the normal times during the day, most people are working or whatever, and I was like, I don't know if he works somewhere else too or not.
Yeah, I pretty much just do the snake stuff. It keeps me busy. I also breed French bulldogs, so I have a bunch of those, and that's about it for now.
Do you use retirement income to supplement snake income, or is the snakes taking care of everything by yourself, or the snakes just fund money in the retirement? You know what I mean? Like
pretty much, yeah. The snakes are just my vacation. You know, my rat bill is very high, so I mean, we're looking at like $1,000 a week sometimes for the rats, and which is actually considered cheap compared to some other guys and the prices that they pay. But yeah, I do it. This is mostly, I would say it's more of a hobby because even if I didn't make money on it, I'd still be breeding snakes. I was breeding snakes in 2007, 2008, and then I was doing it for fun. Then I got out of it, and then I got back in like a lot bigger in 2012, 2013, around that time.
Did you get out of it for like personal reasons in 2008, or was it because of?
Actually, I got out of it because my daughter was born and I was working crazy hours, and I only had a few, and it was just too much on my plate at that time. So let me step back, get rid of these, and then I'll get back in at a different time. I wish I would have stood in when harder in 2008 because I'd be in a little bit of a better spot than I am now, although I can't complain.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Andrew, for the gifted membership. Members have a special live they get to go to and other perks. Thank you, Andrew. So someone in chat will get a free membership. So how many, like, I don't know, ball python recessions have there been? Because sometimes they coincide with real recessions, like in 2008, and sometimes they're like just because, I don't know.
Yeah, when I got rid of them, we were getting hit with a housing market recession, and a lot of people were losing their shirt on money. So that was one of the factors as well, I guess. And then this one that we're going through now is probably the biggest one I've seen.
For ball pythons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was small dips here and there. Morph market really helped it take off. Because I used to bump ads on fauna and king snake like crazy, and wheeling and dealing on the side, and Craigslist days, and those are not good days, you know. And
I still go to fauna a lot.
I haven't been in years.
I don't go there for ball pythons, so there's almost like too many ball pythons. But if you're looking for a rare species or something, like some old folk in their basement, they have it, and they only remember fauna, so that's where they still go to post it.
Like racks, if you want to buy racks, or it was good for thermostats. It was good to buy rodents sometimes, or bedding, because they had certain sections for that. I think during the heat of fauna, he was selling the website for $1 million. I wonder for now.
But $150. And then do you have like a favorite FBI group story, board of inquiry type from fauna? Is there like a funny one?
I don't recall any really. I mean, I remember the FBI group was, people used to post there all the time, but a lot of it was nonsense and some of it was legit.
Yeah, some of it was like down and dirty business.
In the time that I've been doing this, I've gotten ripped off a few times. I mean, I was new to the game and didn't know any better, and I never posted stuff about it though, because usually after I get ripped off, I would go to work, I'd run the person's name, find out where they lived, and send them their address. And then usually they'd make it right.
Right. Well, do you have any tips for anybody how to not get screwed? Because sometimes you're maybe screwed on accident, right? Like,
yeah, like most of the time that I was screwed, it was on hets.
Oh. Do you think people are better about that now?
I think they are, and I think the shed test has a big part of being better with that, because you'll get called out quick. And now, you know, everything's on Facebook way more than it was back then. I mean, they could even message, you know, leave a bad review on Morph Market, and nobody will buy a het from them ever again, you know?
Right. And I do think sometimes it might have been an accident, like retained sperm or whatever. And so that's why some people are like really strict about like, I only breed clowns to this female, but you can you could still mess up, right? You don't know.
I've made hundreds and hundreds of clutches. I could count on probably one hand how many times a female has retained sperm. Like, I don't think it's that common. I mean, when I breed my girls, I'm very seasonal. I breed December 1st to May 31st. My girls don't breed between June 1st and December 1st. They're either laying or I'm, you know, getting them back to size after laying at that time. That way I give my males a break and I let them gain their weight, because a lot of my males go off food during breeding season. And also where I keep my snakes, I had that room specially built for them. So completely insulated. It holds a steady temp, a steady humidity. I have it dialed in pretty good. A lot of my males, they go off food during breeding season, but usually they get back on food rather quickly once June comes along. And my girls are seasonal as well. Like I kind of, it dialed in pretty good actually. This past season I had 135 clutches this past season. So it was a good season. This year I should be somewhere around, I kind of went a little lower this year because 135 was a lot. Like I had somewhere close to 800 babies, and it was insanity at one point. So this season I kind of lowered it down to like 120. I'm hoping for 120 clutches, but they're going to be a bit more high end because a lot of females that I held back in previous years were ready this year.
Are you trying to reduce numbers for yourself or also because of the market conditions? Or are you not really thinking about the market conditions? You're just breeding what you want?
I know everybody this year was like kind of don't breed as much or breed for what you want to hold back.
Mm-hmm.
I did go that route because I have a ton of double hets that I held back. But I also bred because I just had a building built, a snake building.
Congrats.
So thank you. So it's up and it's not running yet, but it's up.
So they're still in your normal snake room right now.
Normal space. Like I wanted it. I had it built in the fall, and I wanted the building to sit for the winter, and see how. Like I have a thermostat in there, just to see how the temps are through the winter. And then in the spring, I'm having my HVAC guy go in there, and he's gonna do all the heating. He's gonna do everything because where it is, it's pretty much in the back of my property. There's a lot of trees there, and I want to see how the snow, when it got snowed on, what the temps went down to, and no trees were gonna hit it in this winter.
Is that building going to allow you to expand, or are you still going to keep it the same number?
No, it's going to be a lot more because it's going to have a built-in walk-in incubator. And right now, I'm going to add about 8 more 5540 racks.
Do you like ARS?
I do. I mean, when I was buying my racks, I was going through Freedom Breeder and ARS. I was going back and forth. But Freedom Breeder is on the other side of the United States. The shipping was ridiculous, which I can't blame them for that. It was just that's how much the freight cost, to get it to New York. And ARS is not as far; it's a lot closer. And I did a big order, and then with the discount that they gave me, that pretty much covered the shipping. So,
I love ARS. They're probably both great, but I don't feel compelled to go spend extra money for Freedom Breeder when ARS are pretty good too. Thank you, Andrew, for the shirt fund. And Trevor has a question. Are you going with a heated floor?
So on the floors, my logo is yellow and black. So the floors are going to be epoxy, yellow and black. Like they're going to be black with splashes of yellow. I was contemplating on heating it. I don't know if I'm going to go that route, depending, because I'm doing 2 systems in there, heating systems. And maybe have the fans blowing down if because to heat it, especially in the winter out here, it's gonna be crazy expensive. So like I have 49 solar panels on my roof right now, and I still have an electric bill.
Damn.
And I have 49 panels. Each panel cost me $1,000. And I figured the electric guy came and he was like, all right, yeah, this should cover you. You should have excess electric every month. No, I still pay where I was paying probably $600-700 a month for electric. Now I pay probably $200. So it did bring it down, but I still pay.
Right.
But imagine if I heated the floor in the building, my electric bill will probably go back up to $500.
Have you ever thought about moving? I know you just built a building, so why would you move at this point? But you're like, if I move further somewhere, warmer.
I would like to go down south, but right now my wife, she's a school teacher, so she can't retire yet. And even if she retires, we have such a nice house in a good area. Kids have all their friends. I have 3 kids that I would probably never sell this house, but I will probably buy another just to go back and forth, kind of like winter, go down south, and and just I'll just hire somebody to just go take care of the snakes during the winter while I'm away.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys on Long Island who breed snakes. Like you got Blue Line, you got Dave from Edge Exotics, you got Kevin from Skull. I mean, there's a lot of guys that you know, if I needed help, be like, listen, I'll throw you guys, you know, store credit. You know, they'll be like, okay.
There is like absolutely like an I-95 corridor from New York to Florida. I don't know if you've ever noticed. Like people like wander down 95. Some of them get off, and then, but their destination really is Florida. Like
I was in Florida. It's good for ball pythons, but anything else, you're screwed because you know they don't allow anything. But I wanted something that I could kind of drive within 10 hours, 10 to 12 hours. You know, Florida's still a 20 to 24-hour car ride.
Yeah, well, you can do like Myrtle Beach or Outer Banks or something.
Yeah,
it still feels fun, but it's not so long.
I need to see if I'm going to buy a house down south. I need to see palm trees when I walk out my door.
Oh shit! He's a Gucci palm tree guy.
In the summer, I buy palm trees and I put them in my backyard.
Are you serious? That's awesome.
Yeah, so I have the pool open, the palm trees all over the place, and then come October, you know, that $2,000 I spent on palm trees dies.
Right. You could bring them inside and do like.
Well, I'm not dealing with that.
I don't know, a big like greenhouse for small pythons. Bioactive AF now.
But yeah.
So you're still breeding a lot, less, but a lot, but you're mostly just doing upgrades anyway. Do you think? So I wouldn't care about like the price drops or whatever, because that's just going to happen anyway. Like, who cares?
Right.
It's more like the wholesalers being full that stresses me out, because then like we're all just sitting on stuff, trying to like whatever. And I know some wholesalers are buying from their buds, their best buds, but they're not buying from like Joe Schmo breeder who has like 10 extra double het males.
Right.
That's the part that like hurts me the most, because like we're all just slopping around with a bunch of stuff.
I know, and a lot of those you have to give away.
Yeah.
Like, I get like I did like a bunch of paint clown combos to just get some double hets, and you know how many like you can't sell the males without a female. The males worthless without a female. And then you know if you have excess males, you kind of just gotta give them away. Like I give to kids, or you know I try and make like groups. Like on the auctions on your podcast. I do a lot of groups. If you notice, like especially I'll do a lot of 1.1, 1.2. But like I did the 10 male pack, and those went well actually. Yeah. Like
those are probably people who are going to sell them. I'm assuming.
But they weren't like 10 garbage males. They were all recessives, like all either pies or clowns.
Right. They were fun. And that's why it was fun to me. But like everyone makes a lot of stuff that would normally have been wholesale material, but they've been full and telling us to fuck off for like a while. And to me, like when the turnaround happens when they're not full, when they're like, okay, I'll buy some of your slop to send to pet stores because the pet stores are selling enough that we're not full too. Because we'll buy from each other until we all get old, right? Because we just like snakes.
A lot of those males are good for shows. I mean, the double het males, those kind of suck because you can't. There's nothing visual on them. They're hard to sell at shows. But like the pied het lavender males or stuff like that, or like I even had a couple.
Yeah, that could go be somebody's happy pet.
Yellow belly clown males, stuff like that. Yeah, they look cool. So those are not hard. Like I still have a few males I'm gonna do.
Do you do shows? Do you do the Long Island one?
I don't do any of the shows. I was gonna get into the show circuit and do like 10, like the big shows. But I was actually doing so good on Morph Market that I was like, why do I want to lug all these things to the show, get mites, bring them back, quarantine? Like, it's not worth the hassle. Like, you know, and I'm selling every day on Morph. Right now, I don't really have much left, so you know, it's pretty quiet on Morph Market. But when I'm in the middle of breeding season, stuff is moving. I mean, I don't have a problem. Like, and I'm a wheeler dealer. You know, like you give me a good offer, I'll accept. I'm not gonna accept half price, but you know, if you buy a few snakes, you get a better deal. Like I have people I ship to in Japan. I'm doing a shipment to South Africa next month, Germany. So like those international shipments,
you like
they'll buy like 2 monsoons, and they'll add like $20,000 in the box, you know. So those are good ones. And then out of the blue, like I'll have a guy, I forget where this guy lived. I think he lived in Georgia. He hits me up. I had a couple monsoons up. Bought 3 monsoons right off the bat. Just
Awesome.
Like, so yeah, like it's weird. Like sometimes you get the guy who wants $200 snake and he wants a picture of the cloaca, or you get a guy who's just like, let me get these 3 with your Zelle, with your PayPal, you know. So, you know, that's the way it is. You gotta.
So you don't like, I don't know, crave the recognition of vending like an ARBC.
I don't even have a YouTube.
I know.
You know, like,
it's fine.
I have my Instagram and I have a Facebook, which I barely post on the Facebook, but I let the snakes talk for me pretty much. Like I'm a little low key.
Reggie's here. What's up, Reggie?
Hey, Reggie. I eventually, when I get the buildings up and running, I was thinking about doing like a nice YouTube.
Yeah. Even if it's just like once a month and you're just talking like your favorite clutches or something. I don't know.
So like I have so many snakes that I could literally just, you know, post a clutch and talk about them, you know, but I've always said this. I said the same thing 2 years ago. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do YouTube. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do YouTube. Never did it. It's just like so much of my day is taken between the kids, the dogs, and just life, you know. That I never just get into the YouTube. Although it's a good platform to get exposure, you know. Like I know guys who have way less time than me breeding ball pythons that have a YouTube and have triple the amount of followers than I do. You know, because they're out there, you know, which is, you know, more power to them. And I don't know, not that I'm afraid of the camera, it's just never got into it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's sort of like a hack, like, and sometimes it makes you a hack, right? You're pretending to be an authority on something you're not an authority on because you need to pretend to be an authority to get sales because you don't have the time or the animals to really justify your existence.
Right.
But, you know, all's fair in love, war, and business, right? We're all sort of
everyone's
trying to like make room for their dumb ball pythons to sell. So however they can do it.
I think that if I had more trouble selling ball pythons, I probably would have been into it already. But I'm lucky because my ball pythons sell pretty quick and they sell good. Well, the good ball pythons sell quick. Like, you know, I try and keep up with the newest stuff. Like, you know, redhead and all types of crazy, you know, like I have Pompeys. I have a few Pompeys, a few monsoons. I have, you know, I have a little bit of everything. I have my hand, you know, all over.
Do you like to buy in, because you have a lot of females, really powerful males to breed to all kinds of females and spread it in quickly? Or do you buy in both genders? Do you have different females growing up? How do you run it now that you have a mature collection?
So if a new gene comes out, I try and, it depends. If it's a recessive, well, whether it's a recessive or co-dom, I try and buy a male.
It just feels like the ROI is better on a male.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, I can quickly breed it to 8 females and see what happens.
Yeah, I'll try and buy a male, but if it's a recessive, I'll try and buy both, a male and a female. That way I could throw some powerful male to the female in a few years, and they hold their value pretty well. Like, although, you know what, Stranger, I got on pretty early in Stranger. And yeah, the market's way down on them, but I had babies when they were going for $15,000 a pop. And I had a lot of them.
I think we talked about this on an auction. Was yours one of the original sets that came in? Like,
yeah.
Or did
it came in from Roland. So actually I sold them to Paul at Large March. He lives
that
male, and he's 50% had moray. So when that test comes out, I told Paul to definitely give him a shed test, you know. You never know. Yeah.
Do you have a lot of animals waiting on the moray monsoon test?
I have one full baby rack of about 50 babies that I have all the sheds ready for, just sitting in Ziplocs, just waiting for the test. So,
do you feel like you even need the test though?
I can pretty much pick out which one I'm confident are at monsoon, but without that test, I can't say 100%. and I can't sell it for 100%.
Right.
Like,
right. There is an ethical
Monsoon. You're getting good money. A couple $100. You sell a 66% head, that thing drops to like 20% of the market. So,
I mean, some people are charging 100% het prices for what is technically a 66% het with markers. But you don't feel comfortable doing that.
I don't, because when it doesn't prove out, although I didn't sell it at 100%, I feel obligated to reimburse that person.
Okay.
Or something. If I sold it at 100% and it doesn't prove out, I gotta make it right. So,
right.
I guarantee my hets. I've gotten burned with hets in the past, so that's like my peeve. Selling hets that are not. So, like 2015, I bought 1.2 het sunsets. I paid 10 grand. 3 years later, I breed them, not one sunset out of 13 eggs.
Who was it? Do you want to say his name?
I know who it is. I don't really want to say the name.
Are they still in the hobby?
He's in the hobby, but he's quiet, very low key now. He made it right. That's why I won't say his name.
Okay. All right, that's good. Don't say his name.
After I told him, like, listen, I was like 13 eggs, not one sunset. Something's wrong. He's like, no, I promise you they're hets. Okay. 2019 comes. I breed them both again. I think I got like 16 eggs. No sunsets again. Damn. This time I'm like, bro, something, these are not hets. And although he didn't give me 10 grand back, he gave me 10 grand in snakes credit.
Okay. I mean, that's good.
He made it right, but it put me so far behind on the sunset project that even to this day, I only have like 3 sunsets, and I've never made a visual sunset, even now.
Do you still have that female sunset?
I do have a female. No, it's a female sunset banana enchi.
Yeah. She's never gone for you?
That was one of the snakes that he gave me on credit as credit.
Oh.
And she's never laid for me. I don't know if he ripped her freaking.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. Damn.
So I don't know. Like,
do you want to like get in sunset more, or like go buy a clown sunset, or are you more passionate about Monsoon at this point because you're further along in the project?
After seeing what's been made with sunset, I mean, listen, I like the way the sunset DG looked, and some of these cold.
You did?
Yeah, I didn't make it. I seen it.
I know, but it's not.
You didn't like it?
Sunset looks better in Ultramel and Lav and HRP than it does in DG. In DG, it looks like another DG. Yeah.
I think that it's going to listen, DG looks better with age, so I think it'll look better as it ages. I like the way, I definitely like the way it looked with Lavender.
Yeah, Lavender was nice.
So, I mean
it looks like you would expect, but it's still nice.
And to be honest, like, I've had the worst luck with sunset, though. And so, like, when he gave me the credit, I took that female and he gave me a male sunset. The male, as I was breeding him, I got 1 clutch or 2 clutches out of him, but I also make double head sunset clowns. And then the next year I bred him, and one day I open up his tub and he's dead in the tub.
Oh no!
So
it was just overbreed.
No, it was the beginning of the season. I have no idea. It could have been large hard, who knows? No issues. So,
have you ever had a snake necropsy just to like double check?
There's no one in Long Island that I know of that does that.
Normally, like you take it to your vet and they put it on ice and they ship it to like a research, like University of Florida or whatever.
Yeah, of course. There's like one main guy that does like reptiles out here, and he doesn't even do that.
Yeah, or like they'll send it down to Dr. Scott Stahl in Virginia.
Okay.
You could even drive it down to him if you didn't want to like FedEx it, because you're technically close enough. It's like a 3-4 hour drive.
Yeah,
to Vienna, Virginia.
Yeah, it's like a heavy project, and I really wanted to know, like, or if I had something like crypto or some crap, I would definitely look into it. But
sometimes they die from like a congenital defect, but sometimes they're dying from stuff. Like when I look at people's necropsies that are like viral or crypto or whatever, but sometimes it's like worm load. Like we definitely don't worm our rats enough.
Right. No.
So they'll like overdo it in the snake, which would normally fine. It would normally be controlled by the immune system, but it's like too much every once in a while. So you'll lose a high value male because they're just like, I'm wormy. I'm just
No,
gonna go.
absolutely true. Like I used to have a rat guy who I used to get from, and I bought like I think it was like 200 rats off him. I fed the rats to my snakes, and next day 15 snakes are dead.
Oh no!
And this
You
was
think
like 2019, 2000. No, this was before that. It was like 2017.
were they live? They were live rats.
And live rats. And not only that, but I had bought 200 rats off the guy, and my buddy who couldn't get rats at the time asked me to get him 100 rats. So I gave my buddy 100 rats. I kept 200 rats. Next day, 15. Next day, he opens up his tubs, and about 10 of his snakes are dead. I felt terrible, but it wasn't my fault, you know. Like,
Right.
I messaged the guy. I'm like, "What the heck's going on? This has to be something with the rats." Turns out he had, I guess, the supplier that he gets it from, because he kind of just was the middleman.
Right.
Had an outbreak of mites on his rats or some kind of bugs on his rats, and he treated them with permethrin.
On the surface of the rat?
Yeah, on all his rats, his whole rat facility. What happened?
Which is funny because they could have done that topically with ivermectin, and the snake can actually eat ivermectin because you would worm a snake with ivermectin hypothetically, and that would have been fine. But because they made them eat Pam, basically,
yeah,
they killed the snakes.
So yeah, on its fur or whatever, you know.
Right.
And my snakes ingested those rats. They got poisoned pretty much.
Did you think about suing them?
Nah, I'm not into it. Unless it's like you really have to get me good to me to sue you.
Okay.
Right.
It's very hard to like trust people who produce your rats for you because, like, I don't know, probably like twice a year I hear a story about one of the major frozen thaw producers killing a set of something, a set of baby boas, a set of somebody's corn snakes.
Mm.
I thought that it's salmonella, like it gets into the rat line, and even when it's frozen, it can kill the snakes because the salmonella just produces too fast. And sometimes, obviously, they ate something weird, or they were treated with something, and so like the snake is actually like chemically poisoned by whatever, you know.
So like, yeah, I mean that was the last time I ever bought rats off that guy. Then I went to another guy. Now I have a good guy who's been doing it for a long time. He has high quality rats, mice, ASFs, no issues. He has what I need, good prices. So thank God I'm blessed on that, you know.
Right.
But like, you know, I used to do my own fecals even on, but not on snakes. I used to do them on leopard geckos. Like in 2014, I used to breed leopard geckos. They get tons of different diseases, bacteria.
Right. Crickets are nasty. Yeah, like even from a great producer, crickets are full of worms. So you have to like
all types of parasites. And you know, I used to treat them with all different kinds of stuff. But yeah, it was crazy with leopard geckos. Like they would get MBD like nothing. Like they get sick, they get MBD. That's it. It's over.
Yeah. Well, like my problem now, I don't know what it is. I guess it's dubia. So mine get like the little calcium sacks all the time. I'm like, stop eating so much food, and so I'd have to under calcium them, and I'm like, it's like the dubia are too nutritious. I guess I'll just have to starve them. I don't know. I don't know how to take care of leopard geckos.
Right.
Yeah. Did you get out of leopard geckos because it was just like a pain in the ass?
The only reason why I got leopard geckos is because I like going away a lot. Like I do like 4 vacations a year, and with leopard geckos, you really have to feed them like a lot, like every day. Give them good water. Like I was on top of them, you know. Mm-hmm. I would just like snakes. You could feed them, give them water, and they're good for a week at a time. They're fine. You know, right. Even longer. Leopard geckos, you really had to like stay on top of them, kind of. So it would, and their food. I think I used to give them like rapashi or something. It brought a lot of flies in. The flies love that stuff.
For crested geckos,
it was like a paste I used to give them. I think like a little snap, like Gatorade cap, and it would always be like flies all around. I was like, oh, okay, that's it. And there wasn't really big money in it. So I was like, all right, I'm done. Then I moved on to blue tongue skinks, and I had.
Was that because of Brian?
I did it before Brian was even promoting it. When he started promoting them, I was like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
but the market never really took off.
What do we do about that? I think that was like a pretty good pet in general. Like they eat dog
food,
cat food.
When you breed them, they're very aggressive. Like the female, her ass kicked. But they had live birth. I would have
It's cool. They're very cool. I just don't know what we need to do to like make them take off.
I think what I think was the biggest thing was Australia doesn't allow export of any animal. And skinks are, they pretty much all come from, especially northerns, they all come from Australia. So all the new mutations that are coming out are from Australia. Albinos, leucistics. I mean, there was at one point, I think, what's his name? The guy down in Punta Gorda, Florida, that he has that animal facility over there now. It's a big name.
Aren't you like multiple guys? Kai? Or not Kai? Ty?
Yeah, Ty Park.
Iguana Lands? Yeah. Okay.
He had a lot of blue tongue skink, like melanistics and stuff like that, but he wanted big money for them.
Yeah, I think people don't realize how important like a fresh supply of new morphs are to a species staying on top. Let me air quote that one, on top. Like people will still always love it or whatever, but like like boas, they don't really have new anything happening.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, I think there's something new with them, right? They don't. That guy Elijah Armas from Juggernaut just produced like something with the boas. Was it a leucistic boa?
Another one?
Either a leucistic or a pied boa. It was something he made recently that everybody was going crazy over. I
mean, I can look it up. Is it on his Instagram?
Yeah, it was Juggernaut Reptile.
He posted, was it him or was somebody else who posted the IMG Superfire that had like speckles? So it was sort of like a cow retic.
I'm not even sure. But I know he has a lot of like up and coming genes on his boas. He's big with them.
Yeah, like so like the pieds have been in the country, 2 different lines of them for.
Okay, Zach is right. The blood pythons he's making. He made Lucy blood, not boa.
Yeah, I think bloods, because we still import some, have a chance. We do import like from Suriname and Guyana, but we don't get a lot of morphs for whatever reason anymore. I just think like people, only the enthusiasts will keep going with something without new morphs, but like investors' money, let me air quote that one, will come in if there's new morphs, and that's sort of what keeps things juicing forward.
Because if there was no new morphs and this market just became stale, find demand, you're gonna have a lot more of what we have now, and less people are gonna want them because they already have them.
Right. Like, why would I buy anything from anybody else?
When a new gene comes out, they just add it to a whole list of other genes, and that's what keeps the market fresh,
Exactly. Like Black Diamond and corn snakes.
Yeah.
I finally got a new corn snake morph.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Thank God.
One time when the palmetto came out.
Yeah. Did you?
Oh, should I get into it? And the guy, he had a good marketing scheme. He was doing like, it was only females he was selling for $4,000 a pop. Then after 2 years, the people who bought the female were allowed to buy a male. Only the people who bought a female.
What if I told you a story that males, homozygotes, are way more likely to be bug-eyed?
Really?
So it's like,
yeah,
it's a pretty good way to get the morph out, sell it, and not crash the price if you're only selling females, just like they did with Stranger. But also don't have to sell any males. Just kidding. We love Don here. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's what was Don, right? Then I think he sold his business a couple of years later after that.
What's funny is he sold it, but then he like couldn't stop. So he still has like 400 fucking courses.
He sold it to some guy, but then he made a deal with the guy to continue breeding, but just not palmettos or something like that.
Right. Yeah. It was Travis.
Well, Travis something like that?
Yeah. Corn snakes are crazy. I don't understand how their market functions at all. But I do love them. I think they're fucking sweet.
Yeah.
They just don't make. You can there's not going to be Don Soderbergh 2.0. You know what I mean?
Well, that was
Not
lucky. Some lady found it in her backyard. The palmetto.
That lady should have kept it.
She called her friend who knew Don. Called Don. They like made some deal. I don't know what he paid for it. Probably peanuts. And that's how that came about. It was wild caught. It's nice. He got a nice return.
Don't you wish you would have wild caught?
Yeah.
Palmetto?
Nice return on investment. I'm sure.
It's funny.
A lot of money on that.
I'm in a Facebook group that's just like random mutations of snakes in the wild, like in the US. It's so random. But like, there's albino, coach whips all the time or like all this shit. But like those species don't matter. So like it's cool, but it doesn't matter. Someone will just maybe breed it and nobody cares. So it has to be like a new morph that looks good in a species that already has a lot of interest. That's a pretty good pet, can be wholesaled. It has to hit all these like sweet spots for it to really matter.
No, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But, so what are you excited to add into Monsoon? Most excited, maybe.
I'm excited for DGs. I'm hoping the DG Monsoon looks really, really good.
I can't imagine it would not look good. It's got to, because it's just going to be like speckles on a lighter background.
I've seen the Monsoon Clown, and it looks good,
What do you think about the Monsoon Pied?
I don't like it.
Me neither. It's fine.
It's a powerful snake, but listen, I did tri-stripe pieds. I made it boring. It didn't do it for me. I was like, okay, I sold the whole project. I still have a male tri-stripe pied, but I'm probably gonna throw one more off market.
What do you think? Okay, see, in corn snakes, everything is het for 10 things, and nobody really cares about what it's het for anymore. It's just like, is this visual this?
Right.
Cool. How soon are we to that in ball pythons? We're like, with genetic testing, we're just like, fuck it, we'll make a pinta het here. We'll breed it to all this shit. But it really starts to, we'll just have like
66% het, whatever, on the corn snakes. I'm like, what the hell is that? But,
I feel like we're like 3 years away from that.
I hope not.
I know it sounds bad, but like, because right now you can go buy a quad het male for $500 or something of something, and you could breed that to whatever, make the double het 3 things, and just keep smashing them.
Yeah, the good thing is with shed testing, that male quad, you could breed it to 5 female normals. It's going to cost you a couple of bucks to get them all tested. But eventually, I think you may have a couple female quads in there.
Yeah.
And you breed that male back to the female quad, and then hopefully you get something going. I mean, that's a really long way to get into it. Like, it's going to take you you're looking at like 6 years minimum. And then you're not guaranteed. Like, you may get 2 of them that are quad het females. And then what are the odds on a quad het?
A lot.
1 in 264, maybe.
I mean, the way to do it wouldn't be to breed it to a normal. It would be to breed, like, let's say you have some clowns, you have some clown pieds, you have some pieds, you have some DG females. So you breed your quad to each of those. You keep the visual females, test them, know which ones they're het for. I mean, this is what Will was talking about, Will Morose, when he was on. And I'm like, damn, it's actually like hard, but it's not that hard. It's hard to hit the quad visual, but that's not the goal, really. The goal is to make lots of like powerful pieces.
And you have a lot of byproduct.
A lot of byproducts. That you have to pay a lot of money to test, and it's not worth anything.
So, I mean, listen, we're in it, to make money, right, too, as well as keep these nice animals. But you're talking about a lot of money, and you're probably never even going to hit it, ever.
Right.
How many quad recessive visuals are there? I think 2, 3. And I think they all carry caramel for some reason.
Do you think that's the Bell's fault? What do you think about that theory?
I don't know. Yeah, didn't that come out with Ultramel now with the Bells, something like that?
Yeah, there's caramel and Ultramel, caramel and DG, and like secret caramel and.
Yeah. Like, I think I bought an Ultramel, and it turned out to be het caramel, and I was making, Ultramel caramels. I'm like, oh. but nobody wants the caramel, you know?
Right. Well, that's why it makes me mad. Like the test for caramel exists, but it's not up anywhere. Like I want to test my Ultramel to make sure it doesn't have caramel in it, so I could sell it as guaranteed not Ultramel.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
caramel
That's how much of a problem it is.
Was it have duckbill or kinking issues?
Kinking, and sometimes females never
Never.
go, or they slug out. Like they have fertility issues. Some of them will breed. It's not like desert, but
The scaleless female that no one's ever seen on eggs.
supposedly there was one, but it's like an internet rumor ghost story right now.
I could take 20 pictures this year of a female scaleless on eggs. It's not going to be her eggs.
Right. It doesn't really matter, even if some of them do breed some of the time. It's just still whatever. But here's what's interesting. Like in fat tail geckos, like caramel and ghost, the females are completely infertile. But for some reason, like in that species, there's like, oh, whatever. That's just like the females become pets. We still breed the males. And I'm like, you guys are weird. Fat tail people are so weird because they have other morphs, but like since they don't have enough, they will say whatever for now.
They used to be expensive, fat tails.
Yeah.
I remember what Garrett DeMeyer used to sell them. He used to have that site with fat tails, and they were like $800 and way more.
Some of them are still expensive because they haven't been like overbred like leopard geckos. It's just they don't mind that they make a morph that has infertile females. It's just wild to me that the hobby is like that.
Yeah, I think there was another issue with like leopard geckos. Wasn't the lemon frost? There was a huge issue.
Yeah, it caused cancer.
Yeah, they got cancer. And I remember in Tinley one year they did one of these auctions and went for 10 grand, like the first lemon frost to be sold in the United States, and the guy got it, and like a couple months later,
can you imagine? I mean, have you ever do you think people should buy into morphs that early before we know for sure, or do you think people should be patient and be like, okay, the females breed, they don't get cancer?
Yeah. It's a gamble. I mean, a lot of it's a gamble. Like, there's one morph that I'm after now, but I can't even buy it. Like, it's not, the guy doesn't want to sell it, and he sold a few females, but he won't sell any males.
Is this a secret morph you don't want to reveal yet?
Yeah, it's called Cosmos.
Okay.
But
I know the Brittany has some.
Her and Justin were the only ones that got in super early on it. And I don't know if it was to promote the gene or what, but
probably
sell crap. I mean, when the market was hot like 2 years ago, I was willing to throw money at this guy. I was like offering everything. He wouldn't even take 30 grand for a snake, and he had 20 of them. You know, maybe even more, and he still would not budge. And then finally this year, he released a few females, and one of my buddies bought a few of them. So
we'll get it from the buddies.
We go that route, yeah. And they're very, very expensive.
What qualities in a new ball python morph does it take for Anthony to want to throw $30,000 at it?
It has to look way different than anything that's out there.
Way different.
Like, I know you've seen the Cosmos, right? It's like confusion on steroids, you know?
Yeah, they're very cool. Like,
so
you know it's not a dinker or whatever.
Crazy. So, I mean, something like that, I'll spend the money. Like, I was going to spend the money on Tornado.
Tornado is also cool.
But I decided not to. I mean, the price wasn't that bad. The guy was willing to do like a package deal. I know Justin bought a few off him. But I don't know. It was at a time where the market was just turning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, do I want to drop this amount of money on a market that's not hot right now? You know, it's kind of slowing down. This was probably over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let me just wait and see. Just gonna wait. If I have to get in on the second heat, I'll get on a second heat. I'll still make money on it, you know.
Is it better? Okay, this is like a question of like penny stocks, value stocks. Is it better to do smaller bets on cheaper animals that people have forgotten about, like morphs, and then breed that to a new thing like Monsoon or whatever?
So,
or would you rather go into like hot new and then ride the morph curve down, or both?
I've made the most money spending the most money.
Okay, so like scrambling around the dirt on morph market for a rare gene to put into something new is not necessarily profitable in your opinion. Unless
No,
you're just
I mean, you could make money, but I don't know. Like, I take like Stranger. That was one of my big purchases. I spent a lot of money when they weren't a lot available.
Mhm.
And yeah, I sold it 2 years later, the babies, but they were still very expensive babies. So I sold 3 babies. I made my initial investment back, and everything after that was just gravy.
Would you have to buy a female also?
No, for Stranger I didn't, because I bought a Stranger het clown.
Okay, you got a male.
It's a bunch of clowns. Yeah, it was a male.
I bought a female stranger. What an idiot.
Yeah, with codoms, I never buy the female. I always buy the male. Like Cosmos, it's a codom. It's a dominant gene. He was offering females, but I won't be able to make babies 3 years. By 3 years comes around, there's gonna be a crap load of them out already.
Mm-hmm.
I sell them in 3 years. The market's already way down in 3 years. If I get them, and that's only one clutch, so I make it.
And if she can breed in 3 years, some females that are totally normal and healthy wait until they're 6 or something stupid.
Yeah. And I could get like 2 or 3 of them. I have to hold one back, obviously. Sell them for this, not a discount, but a way lower price. And I could get a male and breed them to 5 females and get a shitload more.
Right. It's tough. I think a lot of times, like I like that I have a female stranger now, but I would have made more money already if I made female strangers 2 years ago and just kept them, right? But my problem was I was in the peak heat of the market. Nobody would sell me anything. So I was not capable of like sucking dick correct enough on the internet or whatever. So I had to buy it, pick and choose what I got. That's what I got. That was me.
But like in the Monsoons, I went the long way on Monsoon. Like the very long.
Het male.
I bought a het male, bred it to 5 females, held back every single baby female, and then took that male, bred it back to his daughters. Made the first year I made 2 Monsoons because only 2 of the females took, and it was a clutch of 8, 2 visual Monsoons, 2 babies died in the clutch. Both of them.
No. Damn.
All the hets survived. Only the Monsoons died. I don't know what the hell happened.
So would you recommend somebody do that now for an expensive recessive, or should they buy
very long? It's a 6-year. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So at least a 5-year project. 5 years to get babies. By that time, you're gonna take a hit.
Right.
Babies are not gonna be like, there's so many people producing them. I mean, if I was to do it now, I don't know if I could afford. Like, I could afford a male Monsoon now, even if they were like a lot. But I would probably go with 2 hets, a pair of hets, to see if I can make one in 2 or 3 years instead of buying them. Because let's say the male Monsoon just came out this year, you're probably looking at 50 grand, right?
Right.
So yeah, you can make hets. I mean, if you have, not a lot of people have 50 grand to blow on a snake. Like,
no, that's a special.
Later, you open it and it's gone.
Right.
Like, that's a big hit. At least you get a pair. You probably get a pair of hets for 8 grand or 6 grand, and hopefully you get a Monsoon in 2 or 3 years. I mean, I'll probably go that route at this point. If the market was hot, like let's say in 2 years we get a new president and the market turns around, yeah, I would drop the 50, on a really good gene,
I don't know if the president's either way is gonna fix it, because we have like systemic problems with like housing and stuff. People are just straight up fucking poor. Even if they like feel rich, the CPI came out. It's not good. So we haven't nipped inflation really. So no matter who's in the office,
right,
we have to like hurt for a while to like reset some stuff, unfortunately.
No,
but like I think if people did investments well now, we could be like off to the races again in 2-ish years. We just have to bleed a little for our fiat overlords. Sorry, that got weird.
Yeah.
What about Mimic? Do you like Mimic? Everybody loves it.
That is who made that one? You know?
Chat, help me out. It's just a cool guy who found something that looks like banana or ultramel when it's a baby. It grows up and it looks like a monarch.
Really?
It's the incomplete dominant.
I know I've seen it, but he hasn't really promoted it a lot, has he?
So he took it to NARBC, Arlington, and Tinley just to show it off. And I saw it. It looks good. And it's just like it's like a banana that turns into a desert ghost when it grows up. That's what it looks like to me.
What's the name?
Mimic. Because every time you open it up, it looks like a different morph.
Yeah, I like that. Huh.
Check it out.
I know there was that. There was another one. I think it was it Gorilla or something like that?
Yeah, Gorilla's cool. But Mimic to me feels like people are going to spend $100,000 on it because they're going to do a banana thing. You know, because it looks crazy as a baby, looks crazy as an adult.
I got my ass handed to me on banana.
What part of it did you buy?
I bought it at $15,000. A male banana.
And then how much was it when you went to sell it?
About $300.
Rest in peace, buddy.
I bought it, and then that whole male, you know, where it only produced males came out like right after, or something like that, where it was like everybody had males, so they were killing it, you know, because you could take one male, breed it to 5 females.
So did that happen in one season?
Literally, I don't think that anybody knew exactly what was going on, but everyone was making males, and then finally somebody came out with this male making thing, and then it came true. Like it was 90%. Oh, it looks pretty cool.
This is a Mimic yellow belly clown.
That's nice. Is he selling them?
No, sitting on him right now.
Okay.
Like Bob Vu, Josh, Ball Python Shed. They gave him a table so he could show it off at Arlington, and so I got to see him in person. They look like ball pythons, so like that's pretty cool. Yeah. I just like the idea of it. Like it starts looking like a banana, so you can sell it to pet people one day, like hundreds of years in the future. But when it grows up, it looks like a monarch DG looking thing. It's like very clean, not like a banana.
It reminds me of what was it, the IMGs and boas, where it kind of was like black, and the older it got, the darker it got.
Mm-hmm.
Those I had a few of those IMGs.
I still have my IMG VPI.
Oh, cool. Nice. Was that T positive?
Yeah. Yeah, he has a girl grab it now, so it's only taken the boas. It's always like, yeah, I'll buy an investment male.
Right? They're 5-year projects, boas, aren't they?
Easy. Yeah. And then like the females might still be going and growing up, and you keep them as like this reservoir of like potential pairings, but you buy different males to grow up. But she might skip. So she's 6 years old. She skipped till she was 6, basically, which is fine. I don't care. Whatever.
Like the story I was telling you with the boas, I bought a pair of fire boas from Jeremy Stone. Mm-hmm. I had it for years and years and years, and I like 4 years old. I was like, all right, let me throw the male in there. I threw the male in there. She immediately attacked the male and had him like she bit onto him and started wrapping him up. Mm-hmm. So holy crap! I put my hands in there. I was like, I hope I don't get bit. I had a jug of water. I was drenching them in water, trying to separate them. I separated them. I was like, okay, we're gonna try again next year. The next year I try again. They're 5 years old now, and they're fine with each other because I guess they're more mature. I left them in there for like a month. I would take them out for a couple of weeks, put them back in there for like a month, take them out. So no change. And I'm like, all right, these boas are taking a lot of space. I could put another rack here, put them up for sale, sold them. The guy gets them. A week later, he shoots me a text. Hey, did you ever breed this female? I'm like, actually, yeah, I did, but she never took. Sends me a picture of a litter. that she had just had
It
a week after selling her.
sucks so bad.
There was like white diamonds in there, like the super fires, all like white snakes. He had like maybe 12, 13 babies. And he actually offered me
to give someone back to you.
Well, he offered me, because I was like, my whole goal was to get that white boa, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I've had it for so long, I never got it. And he offered to give me one well, it was generous of him, but I was like, shit, like the guy just got, I just got killed with this. But I turned it down. I was like, you know what? It wasn't meant to be. Just enjoy, sell them, make some money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know I don't even remember the guy who bought them or anything.
Where they went.
I kind of just like, I think I blocked him after that.
You were traumatized. That's okay.
I never bought another boa again after that. And I had them for a long time.
I still like boas. They were the first snake I ever owned, and I like them now. They're just like they're a different beast. Like you have to be like patient, clearly, and
they can take a nice chunk off you if they bite you.
Yeah, and they're not to sell to every kind of customer at a reptile show because they're not necessarily small and happy like a corn snake. But I will never get rid of them. Wait,
very smart.
Very smart.
So
baby mimic.
Oh, nice.
Older mimic.
It does look like a
banana rainbow looking thing, and they sort of monarch out.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. I think it's a very cool gene.
Is it
what?
Is it recessive?
No, I'm pretty sure it's just either dominant or incomplete dominant because he just keeps breathing at stuff.
It's like, what was that, rainbow or something like that?
Yeah, it kind of looks like rainbow as a baby.
Which I think they said was like candy. I don't know.
Toffee and candy are the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, rainbow does look an awful lot like everything else, unfortunately, for rainbow.
Yeah. I was big into candy. Like I used to have a lot of candy stuff, and then I just kind of sold it off. Candy kind of took a dive, Nobody wanted albinos anymore.
Yeah, and so, now also
candy's nicer than lavender albino. I kind of stuck with lavenders because I had so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
I had like double recessive dreamsicles and stuff like that. So I got rid of the candy stuff, and then I never really gained momentum again. I don't know. It was good for a couple of years, and then kind of died off.
Yeah, it's like there's only so much money. Okay, so like there's only so much money in the ball python hobby, period. Like breeder money, because they need to feed rats to snakes, so they have to pay all their fucking rat people, right?
Yeah.
So either new money's coming in, giving them more money, and they can invest amongst themselves, or the money, the investor pool sort of dries up a little bit because. Yeah. There's a point where you need to sell snakes to buy snakes, right? Or whatever. So it's almost like if people spend too much, they drift too far over to like DG or something, they don't want candy too. Like they can't swing both. That's like my current feelings on that.
No,
yeah, you need people obviously make money and there's an economy within the hobby. But a lot of the fuel for that is outside money because we have to send money out in rats and electricity bills and stuff. So we need people investing, coming up, trying stuff, whatever.
Like in the way that the market is now, we're losing a lot of people instead of gaining a lot of people. So
right.
We're going to be in this little rut for a few years, I'd say, until it bounces back. I think once inflation eases and the interest rates go down and people feel more comfortable in spending money. Right now, people are not going to buy a snake when they have to buy, milk or food.
Mm-hmm.
And people are, scared that they're not going to be able to afford their mortgage because their interest rate was 7% when they purchased their home,
Right.
So I think once everything turns around a little bit, the market will, it goes up and down. I'm in it for the long haul, so it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, if you like snakes, keep liking snakes and keep working your projects, whatever. I think that's fair advice.
I'm purchasing 8 more 5540s, so I'm gonna have a lot more space that if I have to hold back, I'll hold back. Like I don't maintenance feed my snakes. whether I sold the snake or have a holdback, everyone's on the same feeding schedule. Like I'll sell a snake sometimes, and with Morph Market, I don't update as much as I should. I'll be honest. Like I should be updating weights like every month or so and pictures. I slack on that a little bit. So like sometimes I'll have a snake up for like at 100 grams that I just took a picture of, and the guy will receive it like 3 months after or 4 months after the post, and it's like 250 grams, and the guy's like, "Holy shit, like, this is awesome!"
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, it's been eating." Last 3 months I haven't updated.
But it is really hard to keep Morph Market updated, even if you only have 100 listings, because you're trying to like actually take care of the animals and sell snakes and do stuff. So you really want them to sell off of their first listing, not the 30th one. But I don't know. You just have to do it. That's your job, I guess, technically.
Yeah, right now I don't have a lot listed on Morph Market. I have a few higher end stuff, like I have a Stranger Chocolate Pastel Clown listed, like a couple things like that. I got one Monsoon left, a Mojave Monsoon. And it was weird. This year I made 10 Monsoons, 9.1.
What?
I have no idea what that was about, but 9.1. I was like, okay.
You got lucky.
I mean, lucky, but now I'm wondering, I was like, shit, where are all the females?
Right.
But yeah, I think I did that. And I sold the female too. The only female that I had, I sold her.
Oh, you didn't want it?
Oh, there. Somebody just mentioned it. The Fire Monsoon.
Ron asks, have you seen any other?
That's the only one I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a monsoon curse? And if you don't want to talk about it because it hurts the project, that's fine. But I've heard about it enough that. Do you know the curse?
What is it?
Oh, so you don't even know. So maybe it's not even a thing, right? They're like somehow like head-to-head pairings will miss sometimes too much. And then people are like, is it a curse? And then some of them will die in the egg, and some of them will die after being born. And people are like, it's cursed.
I've made a lot of clutches with Monsoon, like even last year, this year. Last year, like I said, I did have a clutch of like 8, and there were 2 Monsoons, and only 2 that died were the Monsoons. Out of the snakes, all the heads survived. So I was like, shit. So this year, I don't think that you would get less Monsoons because I had a clutch, a head-to-head, 5 eggs, and I got 3 visuals out of 5 eggs.
That's pretty good.
On a head-to-head. So, I mean, that kind of like saved me a little bit on that, because on another one, I'll get like 6 eggs and one visual. I think it's pretty average with the head-to-head. Now, the 2 Monsoon, and in this year, I did have 1 Monsoon die in the egg as well. So I think it was a little higher than normal on the snakes dying. And I don't cut my clutches unless they pip. Like I'm not like one of those, day 50, snip. No. Like I'll leave a clutch in there for 65 days if I have to. And if I see it really deflated and I could feel the baby in the egg, I'll cut it, like if it's like a day 62 or something like that. But if I don't feel like the eggs still look plumped, I'm worried sometimes that maybe it's a cold spot in an incubator. I'll let it sit a little while longer. But yeah, I had 1 Monsoon die this year in the egg. And last year too. And last year, I remember after they died, I took them out of the egg to see if there was any deformities. There was none. And I actually popped them. They were both males. And this year I made 9 males. Last year I made 2 males. So I was like, shit. I was like, I've only made 1 female Monsoon ever.
Right. And some of this could be like statistically within the realm of normal.
Possible,
but there's enough people talk about it that it's like,
yeah.
I wonder if there's like some inbreeding depression with the original line, and it doesn't have anything to do with the gene. It's just we need to probably do some outcrossing. I don't know. Figure it out.
Definitely. It has to be outcrossed a little more, but I don't know. Like I did all right this year. I think the head-to-head was about the right ratio.
All right. What about the tri-stripe curse?
What's that?
I love it. It's funny because you're just like happily breeding your snakes and like living your life, and all the dumb idiots on the internet are like, "There's a curse." Sorry. Okay, the tri-stripe curse is sometimes female visual tri-stripes take longer to grow to size to breed than their het tri-stripe siblings. So like hets grow and breed sooner and are better eaters than visual females. But females obviously can breed because we see them on eggs all the time. But that was the tri-stripe curse.
That's not true.
Not true.
I've made a lot of tri-stripes. I've had a lot of female adult tri-stripes.
So I messaged Colette about this curse,
Uh-huh.
and Colette's like, sometimes they do, but it doesn't really matter because like that's like within the normal range of ball pythons that take a long time, females that take a long time to grow up because they just don't eat that good. But then she was like, but we have noticed a strong bias in gender of males to females. We don't produce as many females as we do males. And I was like, oh snap! What do you think about what Colette said? Have you noticed a gender bias?
No.
Also no.
And like, I'm sure Quest worked with them a lot more than I have. Like, I don't have a ton of tri-stripe stuff. I've kind of reduced my tri-stripes this year. I sold a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it was pretty even with females and males. I just sold one to Charlie at Gray Rider. He bought a tri-stripe, 66% head candy.
Mm-hmm. She was cool.
Yeah. But I don't. The thing I do notice though is my confusions are shitty eaters.
Oh, so you're okay. We're into the confusion curse.
I definitely, I've heard it a few times, and I've noticed it. You know,
we could do a monsoon tier list, but I think this season coming up, we're gonna get a lot of visual monsoon stuff hit, and it's gonna be more interesting to talk about if we give it some time. Like the Ultramel monsoon. Like there's a bunch of stuff coming up that I think is going to be more interesting. What's up, Lori? You made it. It's only been like 6 months. Okay. So you think the confusions are picky eaters, bad eaters sometimes?
Yeah.
Is this just like an outcrossing problem?
I think my puzzle, like I have a lot of puzzle stuff. I think they're fantastic eaters. You know, like I do think the genes do have something to do with eating habits and laying habits, and I think that part is true. But yeah, I think confusions, like they're tough eaters. Like I've had one confusion girl, I think she was like from 2016. She only gave me one clutch because she would never get to weight. And like I said, Sunset, I'm cursed with Sunset. Personally, I'm cursed with Sunset.
Personal curse.
That banana Henchi Sunset is a 2018. It's never gave me a clutch. Yeah,
it's really funny how like if one female is the linchpin of your collection, she will magically be the one who decides to never eat.
I'm like, holy crap. I couldn't get her up to size for 4 years. And then I finally got up to size and no male would touch her. I don't know if she was threatening them, but I couldn't go on anybody. And then finally, you know what? I have to go back. I don't even know if I ever saw a visible lock with her. Maybe she's a male. Nah, it's not possible. But
she could be a hermaphrodite or something.
They, them. I don't know. Maybe this guy.
Honestly, have you ever seen like really unusually big, like weird female genitalia? You're like, are you a boy? But then you ultrasound them, they have follicles.
Yeah, like I usually look for if it's like cherry red down there, then I know it's a boy. Like because there are some with really small hemipenes.
Right. They're growers and not showers. That's my. That's what I tell them.
I went to sell a snake recently, and I had it look as a female, and the guy was interested, so he asked for another pic. Took a pic. When I take my snakes out, I usually pop them just to make sure. I popped it, and then it looked a little red down there. I was like, "Holy crap!" I was like, "I think this is actually a male," and I was like, "Shit, let me try again." But at a certain point, the hemipenes wouldn't pop out; it was just red. So I was like, "Let me give it a day." Next day I go back and I gave it a good pop and boom, tiny hemipenes. I'm like, oh, sorry, it's a male.
Poor guy.
At least I double checked, and I wound up selling that male to some girl this week. She picked it up from the FedEx.
Did you tell him he was?
And she texted me back like when she picked up. She goes, hey, he's like, I just want to let you know they look awesome. She's like, that male, I popped them and his hemipenes were so small. I thought it was a female. She said to me. I was like, holy crap, me too. I was like, yeah, it's a small.
I Have you ever like what? I don't know. I look at my snake's junk a lot, which makes me a weirdo. But like, because you're waiting for like males hemipenes to look mature. So
Yeah.
even if he's 800 grams, if he has like pale little flaccid weenies, he ain't doing shit, right? Doesn't matter. You want him to be like purple and veiny and nasty, blood, with a lot of jizz on it, and you're like, oh yeah, you're fucking good to go, right?
Yeah.
But do little penis? This is the worst conversation. We're demonetized right away. Everybody send in a super chat. So little hemipene, like neonates, do they grow into bigger hemipenes or
yeah, I think they
either.
In my opinion, I think either they have really strong muscles where they're holding them back.
Right. Okay.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think I've never had a problem with a small hemipene snake breeding. Usually once
That's right.
in there,
motion of the ocean, baby.
They're growers, not showers, like you said. So I think
sometimes they have to really like, I don't know how to say this politely, like swing it in there to like get a lock in. And so you're like, is he just stretching? And it doesn't really matter how big the butt is, but I definitely look at my snake's junk a lot because it's really important. I don't know.
You can't have a fetish.
Yeah.
We'll make a magazine.
Yeah, I gotta get it together. Actually.
Yeah. And I've had snakes with like decent sized hemipenes, just not on a breed. Like.
Was it like purple and nasty, or just like they just didn't feel like it? I'm so sorry. I ruined the podcast. Yes, sometimes like mature males, like if they have like a really hot and heavy season the season before, they like did 8. Sometimes they'll be like, and they act like not as excited the next year. Some of them aren't like team players.
That's true, that happens. Like
if
a male has a really good season where he's breeding everything. The next season he tones it down a lot of times. I had that happen to me this year. Like the snake was fantastic, would read anything. This year he has unlocked.
Yeah, my tri-stripe is like that. Like he's not like a low stamina guy. That's why I bought the like backup from you. I'm like, fuck, he's gonna like wimp out again. But if he has like a 4, what?
You picked up the breeder tri-stripe from me or no?
No, I got like a little one, but I just want him to be a backup, right? Because he's getting ready to give up again. But he got the black xanthic girls. That's all that really mattered because I was trying to do some different stuff. Yeah. But anyway, if he, and some males are really powerful, but if they still do too much one year, it's almost like they know they're going to overexert themselves the next year, and they're like, maybe 3 girls is all I can take. Yeah. I can only do 10 locks this year or something.
Like I think people need to keep back more males. Like I'm watching males, and then I had to turn it up and keep a crap load because, coming on a peen.
Sorry.
I had to use so many backups this year.
Yeah, Trevor got the tri-stripe. Yeah, backups are really important. The way I do backups right now is like if I have an animal in a project, I would just buy like different males with different genetics, but like still the same recessive mix. And I'll just like a train of males growing up, and then I'll sell the ones off. But there's always a backup that's younger or older that's slightly different. Is that how you do it, or do you?
I usually try and keep like 5 backups, and this year I think in like I want to say October, I was like, you know what? Let me get 2 more backup adult clown, with something in it. So I picked up like just nothing crazy. I just wanted a backup. So I picked up like a bongo clown adult male, like a special Enchi clown male, both adults. And the Enchi, I had to use a special clown already because one of the males weren't breeding. He's doing fantastic. The bongo clown will not even look at a female. So he's the backup and he needs a backup. I'm like, that was a waste of money.
Yeah, it's a problem once you're in like the pinch because like you would hypothetically want to quarantine it, make sure it doesn't have any nasty mites or whatever. But then like you're fucked, right? Because you have 4 girls at
like right now
millimeters,
because it wouldn't make by the time it quarantines and I'm ready to breed it, those girls are already, ovulating and it's too late. So
Andrew is losing his fucking mind with the gifted. Thank you, Andrew. I guess everybody's a member now, so come to the member live on Sunday, and we'll talk about snake stuff probably.
But yeah, I mean the snakes. I do pretty good. Usually, I average about 60% of my females going. Last year, I think it was like 75%, so it actually was a lot better.
Is it because your collection is getting older, or do you think you fed differently, or the males?
A lot of my girls, I think when you produce a girl or a snake in general, and in the location that it's produced, I think it does best. So like a lot of these snakes that I bred this year or last year, I produced those snakes. They've been here their whole life. They're acclimated well. I sold a snake to somebody in Colorado. Just the elevation alone may mess it up. They could sense that stuff.
When you move out to your building, even though it's the same area,
and that scares the crap out of me because they're gonna have to acclimate a little bit. They're gonna have to. It's gonna be a little. Although it's in the same location, but the parameters are
right. They're gonna be like, "Fuck you! This is a different room. I ain't breeding for 3 years." Like, I've definitely known people who've done that and had the whole. So they do it after they lay, right? So they don't reabsorb.
Yeah.
Okay, thank God. But then like it sort of changes. Like I've had females that were October start pairing whatever like layers of April, who since I've moved here have they all switched. They're all getting ready to lay. And it kind of sucks because it put me behind because I was going to get rid of a bunch of these females, but I'm like, well, I'm moving to fucking Oklahoma, whatever. So now I'm going to have like 100 billion females that are all laying on this new timetable in this new room, and in a ball python market that doesn't want any ball pythons. So
listen, you may be a guest. I'll host the next whole back podcast.
Okay, good. Thank God. Yeah, it's absolutely like, and I did have females like reabsorb because we moved, rebuild like the second string of little follicles, and then go immediately like 6 months after we arrived. I'm like, you're fucking weird. But most of them were like, I'm not breeding here. So like anything different.
And I think the eating changes as well. Like I had last year a few snakes, actually 2 different snakes that I sold to 2 different people. And locally, I sold them. One guy, I think his name was Lex, and the other guy was Kevin from, like, he comes on the podcast. And they were clowns that would not eat. Like, these clowns didn't eat for 6 months to 9 months. I'm like, I tried everything. I changed their spot in the rack. I changed their bedding. I put a hide in there. Nothing. Both snakes I sold for a big discount because they weren't eating. And both snakes, the next feeding at the new locations, ate.
Those little shits.
Yeah. Like Kevin,
they were just mad at you.
Kevin, literally, I think the same day he got it, he brought it home, offered it a rat, and it ate the same day. So there was a theory back in the day, I think probably the late 90s, early 2000s, where people would give their snake a car ride, and that would change habits.
Has that ever worked for you, though? I've tried it and it doesn't work.
I've never tried it.
I think they know that it's still you and still your dumb building.
There were even people that would take a snake, put it in the box,
drop FedEx it to themselves,
and it would start eating. I mean, does it work? I've never tried it. But
yeah, I've taken snakes on car rides and it does not work for me. But I don't know. I think people. Sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe you should just like run around in a room that it can't escape from and just let it feel like it went a long way.
Right.
And then put it back in its hole. So it's like it traveled a journey.
Right. Yeah, because the theory was, I think back in the day, they say where they lived, they would sleep near their own excrement and they would feel comfortable there. So they would eat. But after a certain amount of time there, they would move to a new location that was cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would eat at this new location, and the old location they wouldn't eat anymore. So they were saying do a clean out that would help it. But I would try everything, and sometimes nothing worked. It just didn't like the humidity or whatever it was that was giving it.
Mm-hmm. Or it just was being a ball python.
Yeah, someone said that worked for them.
Yeah, it definitely could work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anything could work. I just like.
But just like when you're breeding ball pythons, like to get a male to breed, I've tried everything. I was thinking of a way to friggin' artificially inseminate a snake at one point. I'm sure that's gonna happen one day. Where just like dogs, you could start out a male, take the sperm plug, store it in a Ziploc, ship it.
Well, so like it would have to be like immediate, because I think the University of Louisiana tried freezing snake sperm, and they could not keep it alive after being defrosted because it wasn't as hardy as mammal sperm. So you would have to jerk them off manually and then put in a little syringe and then overnight that to a snake, I guess.
Like with the dogs, when I sell stud fees, it's called pull the dog, and you put it inside of a little tube, and you put something called extender, and it's like a liquid that they make specifically for this. They put it into the tube, they shake it up a little bit, you throw it in an insulated box, and you next day it. And then when they get the box, they slowly wake the sperm up to room temperature, and then they artificially inseminate.
With sugar or just
no? It's
temperature.
Just temperature, yeah, room temperature.
What's in the extender? It's got to have sugar in it, right?
I'm assuming it does. I don't know.
Something.
And you got 10 days. Like I've had sperm sent to me from London, from all over the place, like Europe.
British sperm, eh?
And and it's completely fine. Like I've artificially inseminated a female dog, and she's gave birth to puppies. So I wonder if the thing could be, like you said, I don't know if they can handle the frozen aspect. And
do snakes produce enough sperm?
Like how much
you can manually extract it?
How much? Okay, sperm plugs, none of that is viable, right? That's all dried up, no good.
Right, and they don't. So like, they make they close the wall of the sperm conductance with the rest of the female's body. So there's like a channel on the side of the plug. That's why they hold in, because the sperm has to like crawl up, because there's no like ejaculation. You would almost have to like get him to lock a dummy snake, and then extract whatever sperm crawled up. It's not as like dramatic as it is with mammals,
I never thought that the shed testing would be possible, and it is. I think eventually something like this is going to happen. Somebody's going to figure something out. We need like some mad scientist to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, we can get some sperm. I don't know. Would it make it more fun or less fun to be selling sperm?
I think it would drive the market down.
Yeah, right now it's shed testing,
because now you don't have to buy a Monsoon.
The high-end male.
You pay the guy $500 to send you a vial of sperm. Bam, done.
And the other thing that's weird, like if you wanted to freeze your sperm, there's people always selling like, here's a bunch of dog sperm on Facebook Marketplace or whatever in a nitrogen cooled freezer, and you're like, and so they could do these like particular pairings over and over again, and then they'll cedar the dog or the goat or horse or whatever, and they'll put the sperm in at just the right time, and I'm like, there's a little bit of like, I don't know, like only the best superest males ever breed ever again.
Right.
And then like there's like huge problems with that. Like in Nubian dairy goats, they introduced a genetic variant that causes, like, the homozygote is lethal, but it doesn't make them better at making milk. It just happened to be in this one super goat whose jizz is all over the place. Like, so it spreads so far in the breed that the breed is like, oh, I guess we got to genetic test this out now because we AI'd from this one super goat. So it causes other problems. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. And like you said, those are all mammals you're driving,
Apparently Beast Morph is jacking off his snakes and inseminating the pairs that don't lock. Good job, buddy.
I was always saying, like, okay, so a couple of my buddies were like, oh, we want to start a YouTube, we get followers. I was like, you want to get followers? Like, take a slug, like you have a clutch, take a slug, open it up, fry that shit, and eat it on camera. That'll generate a few followers. So now another idea just came in my head. Brush your teeth with some sperm plugs.
Can you imagine? Ugh. Yeah, you'd get followers, all right, but not the kind you want.
That'll be OnlyFans.
Yeah, only sperm plugs. He needs a video of you jacking off the Monsoon with a date and holding up your license to confirm that the jizz is real and not just normal jizz. I'm so sorry. Everybody hit the like button because we're talking about the hard truth of whether or not we should be jacking off Monsoons.
It's probably the last podcast on this channel because I don't think
we've done like multiple episodes about animals' penises, so it's pretty fine. I mean, it's where the rubber hits the road, no pun intended, you know, like there's a bacterial infection that can get into ball python's junk that is sexually transmitted, basically. So there's a paper about a whole colony in Florida somewhere that had 1,500 ball pythons, and they're like, why do they have like weird tumors and bumps? And it was a bacteria, so they could have treated it with antibiotics, but they didn't even know what the hell it was. It was totally brand new. But it was sexually transmitted. It was only really in the cloaca area when you popped them out. But it also ended up in their mouths like herpes. But it wasn't herpes, it was a bacteria. So I don't know. Check your snake's junk. It's good husbandry to make sure it's not getting herpes. Okay.
Snapey.
Yeah, man. All right. So maybe last topic. You already switched to metal racks from the PVC ones. Do you still like that over the PVC ones, or do you have any regrets, or do you want to go back to it?
I would never go back to PVC.
Never go back. Strong statement.
Never go back. But I do keep my babies in PVC. I don't keep the babies in like those small ARS racks, only because my PVC racks are interchangeable with FB5s and FB8s.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have it in a rack, you got to choose one or the other, you know, if you have a metal rack. So like a lot of the babies, once they hit a certain, weight on the FB, I keep everything in FB5s because I made so many babies. I have to keep them in FB5s.
Yeah.
But once they hit a certain weight, they have to be upgraded to FB8. So I could literally just take the tub out, replace it with an FB8, and it's fine for a couple more 100 grams.
Or put the 35S in for a couple 100 more grams. Do you have those yet?
No. I literally just I go from FB5 to FB8 to ARS 50s.
Yeah.
Like I don't have anything in between.
Did you get 50s or 55s?
I have 55s. I do have some 50s, but they're like kind of so I usually hold back about 50 snakes a year. So I have enough 50s for those holdbacks.
Thanks, Andrew, for the member. I don't know. He's losing his mind, and they're all tagging him. I don't even know what that means, but I love it. Keep going. So you like fill a 5540 and then you sell a 5540 worth of adults and just keep the train going, or are we still sort of expanding a little bit?
So like usually anything that hits a 5540 is a holdback.
Okay.
I usually try and sell by the time it's getting out of the FB8. I should have the snake sold because it's a long time. They like FB8s. They feel nice and cramped. They eat them. You keep a snake like 400 grams in there, 500 grams even, and they'll do fine. Once they hit like the ARS 5540, they're usually a holdback. or if something I can't sell, I'll put them in at 55, 40.
I put little shits in 5540s all the time. They're
And
fine. Just give them a couple hides or whatever, like little babies. I'm like, oh, I like you, 200 grams. They're fine. It's like a 20 long. They're fine.
Yeah. And they, I'll throw a hide. Like I have so many hides here that I'll throw a hide in there. They'll go in there. They'll feel, comfortable. They'll eat just fine.
All right. Ron, let's friend of the show, Ron. Any opinion on the fractal theory for het monsoons? Do you think most het monsoons are identifiable? I guess that's what he's asking.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I have some that I could even go on camera that you'll be like, holy shit, that's a het monsoon. Fractal, I think it was some guy came out with that, saying that monsoons were the super version, the super form, and they were really recessive. He was saying that fractal was the single gene, monsoon was the double gene.
Which is technically true, right?
Listen,
like if it's a heterozygote or a homozygote.
Yeah, you can make anything recessive like that. Like I've had pet puzzles that look like visuals. I've had paints that look like visual paints. And originally, paint was thought to be dominant gene, I believe.
Yeah, it was not even on Morph Market as like incomplete dominant. You can buy a super paint.
But then it got switched over to het. So really, I think het paint might even be a dominant, because the hets that I made, they look like paint. And there's no way it could be. But they have them listed as hets, recessive. So I'm going that route.
Do you think the market will ever stop being so stupid about stuff? like where it has to be recessive because that's all that matters. But more like, is it a homozygote for these alleles here or a heterozygote for these alleles here? And that's where the value is?
Yeah, the shed testing is correcting a lot of this,
Okay.
So I think even with DG, how they said it wasn't recessive, it was actually polygenic, which I don't even know how that's possible, but the science says it is. So
well, it's not anymore. They changed their mind.
What is it now?
Recessive.
They said recessive now?
Yeah, the Canadians found another gene that more accurately predicts the visual. Like, does it look like a DG or not? And that's DGC.
Right.
And that is the only thing that actually matters. And so everything about polygenics was not correct. And sorry, DG.
Even with all that came out, I still have in my head and in all my projects recessive. Like I never changed my thought process on it.
That's good.
Het DG, like that's what it is,
I didn't sell anything because of it, but I also didn't buy anything because of it, because they've just made it like confusing and irritating, right?
Like people thought it was. Like people thought the DG market was going to crash. Nothing changed. Prices.
It did crash along with everything else crashing at the same time.
Right. It coincided with everything, but it didn't I just saw today 5 DG hypo something females for $3,000. DG hypo. Where are they? Pastel DG hypos. But 5 females for $3,000. I thought it was a pretty good deal for a double recessive DG. I mean, I don't know if that coincides with the rest of the market.
Yeah, the cheapest one of those I've seen is $600, and the most expensive one on Morph Market, without anything else in it, is what, like $1,200. So that's probably right.
Okay, so it's about ballpark, right? Yeah, they had size. I don't know. The guy didn't post it.
All right, I'm not trying to make fun of your prices. Like Morph Market pricing is really weird right now because everyone is like, I don't know what the price of anything, so they just make shit up.
Yeah.
But
some stuff is hard to price. You don't like.
Yeah, especially if you're the only one who has it.
Like right now, you could go over to Morph Market and look up Monsoon, right? And you can find them for $10,000, $10,000, $10,000, $10,000, even like $8,000, whatever. I have mine listed for I think $7,500. It's been listed for a while. It hasn't moved. So, is that the actual price now? If it's not moving for a month, that's not the price target anymore. The price is more.
And I don't know if somebody wants me to say, but someone else in the Monsoon category ran a sale for $5,000 and it didn't sell. The same animal.
He put up for auction. Right?
Yeah, and he put it on sale, just like the sale function. He's like, this weekend only, cash only, which is fine, right? But at $5,000, no one was able or interested in buying it. So I don't know what the price of Monsoon is either.
Well, I saw it I saw it on auction. I'm on Morph Market for
It was
$5,000.
also on auction.
It has to be the same guy.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that many.
Sell and
No, I like what he's doing because he's like figuring out what the price is. Because right now everybody's stuck at 10,000 ish, and like, I don't know, is that the price?
The only thing is, think about it. Who has $5,000 laying around that like, I'm going to buy that right now, 5,000 cash? A person that's going to buy that is probably going to want a payment plan. You're going to want 90 days. And I'm fine with that. Listen, I understand. Not everybody has $7,000 just to spend on snakes. So listen, I've done payment plans. Usually I try and keep it 30 days. If it's something like high end, depending on, if it's a friend, a former customer, like there's a couple of factors in it. I'll do a 90-day, if it's like a monsoon or something like that, just to get it moving and just to help somebody out. The only thing is you get better pricing when you can buy it in one shot, Listen, somebody has $5,000 cash, they're going to get it, but payment plan, you can spend.
Ron says he thought it was kinked. I didn't think it was kinked, but it could have been. I didn't look that hard.
I don't recall seeing it was kinked. Could be.
I don't know. I think it's still on Morph Market. We could probably go check, but we won't go that hard into it. I just think it's okay to find the real price for something, because who knows what it is. All these snakes are made up, fun snakes. So like, can't sit on them forever. Because a lot of people are arguing like, hey, sit on all of your inventory forever to get the right price. And I'm like,
sit on them all day long. Right now, I consider this still the end of the season for 2023. No one's producing 2024 monsoons as of yet. I mean, they could be. So if you have something like a monsoon still sitting on your Morph Market page from 2023, so it's probably been there for like 4, 5, 6 months, and you have it for, look, 6,500 now.
Yeah.
Was it kinked, BBM? Then that's not the target. So I have it up there, and if I have to hold it back though, that's a snake that doesn't matter. I'll hold it back and I'll breed it next year to I'll make double hets,
How long do you personally want a snake to be in your racks to know if it's priced correctly? Like, if it sells the second you put it up, is it too cheap? Or if it sells a couple weeks? Or is it...
Sometimes it's just, somebody's looking for that particular snake and it was the right price for them. I think that's fine. If I have a snake up there and it's been up there for like 4 weeks, I start to rethink the price on it. Like, okay, it's been up 4 weeks. If I had a few inquiries on it and it just wasn't the right time for the person, maybe I'll leave it up there for a little while longer. But if I haven't even had an inquiry on it, and you can look at how many people click on your ad, and if that's low, then I know it's priced wrong, and I'll lower it.
Did you see this? That's cool.
No, that's new. That's
super inchy, lesser.
Was that from Corey in Canada?
Yeah.
He did a lot of stuff with the monsoon too this year.
It's cool that it's doing something different. We're doing it. We're doing it. Things different are happening.
I don't think we can get $15,000 for that though.
No, not in this.
Not with a
Nobody's
bell.
got the money.
Not with a bell complex. No, like the only Mojave monsoon I made is the only one that's still for sale. So a lot of people don't want those bell complex animals in their genes neither.
It's just hard. Yeah, I don't know the right answer to anything. I breed corn snakes, so it don't fucking matter. But it's just hard because people will absolutely like open up your mouth and take a shit down your throat because you're like, well, what am I supposed to price it at? Because everyone's holding the line at X price, but nobody's buying them. So just everyone's like doing buddy prices behind the scenes and trading to pretend like that's the real price. That's not the real price anymore, buds.
But even on Morph Market, okay, you put a snake for sale on auction. Let's say I had a snake for $2,000 for sale, and I switch it over to an auction style on Morph Market, right? And it sells for $1,000 on auction. When you list that snake as sold on Morph Market, they don't change the price at $1,000.
Right. They leave the original price.
So when you see those sold, snakes, you don't even know if it's sold for auction. You don't know what it's sold because they don't show you.
Right. They don't show you the buddy price, like the DM price.
Yeah, they don't show you anything. So I mean, and they don't have to. They don't want to kill the market neither. I mean, If someone sees that snake sold for $1,000 on auction, anyone else that has it for $2,000, they're not gonna pay it. They're gonna be like, well, why should I pay if it's worth this? You know?
Right. It's always been like confusing to me, like, is it fair that we have a retail price and then a lot of ways to not have retail price? Like, you buy a package deal, you're the buddy, you're a repeat customer. Like, are we being unnecessarily mean to new people because they're not privy to the fact that actually everything is on 30% off sale all the time elsewhere? Is that fair? Maybe I'm like dumb. I don't know.
Listen, if somebody, I don't care if they're brand new, I don't know them, but if they give me a fair
offer,
I'll take it. I don't care if I don't know them. If they seem, you know, they seem really interested in it, that's the snake they've been saving for or whatever, you know, I'll even do it on a payment plan, you know, if they're kind of new. Like, I try and like be open to different suggestions on it, you know. I'm always trying to make a sale. You know, it's a hustler mentality. You know, you're competing against a lot of people. You know.
All right, Ron's still talking about it. Let's go back. We're not trying to be mean to Fireball Pythons. We love him. I don't actually know him at all. We're just looking at if it's kinked or not.
He said by the tail.
He has a small bump at the end of his tail, which is why his regular price is 1K less than others.
Which the others is mine. Because I have one for 7,500.
He does have a little bump.
No kink. That's not. That's actually not bad, because if it's a male, that's fine. That's far away.
Yeah.
That's far enough from the cloaca. That's fine.
Yeah, that would be okay.
Yeah. So that's the one that he wanted 5,000 for.
Well, it's right now. Well, it was on sale at one point for 5,000. Right now, it's 6,500 cash.
So anyone that's watching this, if you offer him 5,000, he'll take it. And that would be a good deal, 5,000 for that. I mean, if I was in the market for one, I'd probably take that. But yeah, like I said, like, look at strangers right now. I mean, the price is, you know, dove, but it's been out for a long time. And you know, like, everybody's trying to find them. I've auctioned a couple of them off, and they went for low, so people got good deals. But you know, they were sitting on more.
Was it even really that low? Is the question I like sit at night, where I'm like, what if that's the real price?
Right, because I'm sitting on it for 1,600 on Morph Market for months, and it's not moving. That's no longer the price. Sorry to say. And people get mad. Like, I'll get a few messages every now and then, like, dude, you sold a freaking stranger clown for $1,000 on the auction. I'm like, yeah, well, did you see how long I had it listed on Morph Market and it didn't move? So yeah, some people shit on the auctions because they say, well, there's not enough people in the room to dictate the new price.
Right. Correct. That could be true.
And that could be true, but there's enough, in my opinion, when we have 150, you know, people in the room. You know, that could, to me, that's a small number, but it could, you know, it dictates something. You know, like, I could see, okay, there was 10 bids on it, or there was one bid on it. Maybe, you know, there's a difference.
Yeah, it's sort of like going to, I don't know, like a car auction or something. Like, yeah, you could pick up a car in New Jersey and drive it down to Florida and sell it for more, hypothetically, because, like, how many dealers are at that auction.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely true. But, like, these aren't cars, so we can't, like, sit them in a garage. They're snakes, so they're all costing money to carry. So sometimes taking a little L somewhere is good, and it does establish a price, but maybe it also doesn't, because then some people can become so bearish that even if you sold 10 monsoons for $5,000, they just love monsoons, so they'll buy them at 6 and 7 and 8, and now the market's back at 8 again because they just love, not bearish, bullish, sorry, they just love monsoons. So I don't know, the people are like anti-deals, anti-auctions, anti-sales are all extremely, like, not capitalist. They're communist bitches, right? They want, like, price collusion.
They don't want nobody to go down in the price because it hurts them.
Yeah, and I'm just like, just compete in the hobby. Like, if you want to have a better price, then offer some sort of value add, like better customer service, better help to the customer.
Market.
If and some people will compete on price, and that's just like the fact of life. And I don't know what I'm talking about because I sell corn snakes, so don't ever listen to me at any time.
But I remember when like bamboo came out, they were $10,000 for a female, and I think like a year later they were like nothing. Like 2 years later, I was like, holy crap, that really, because it overtook everything you bred it to so much. You barely even see bamboo anymore.
Right.
Like you barely see them. You see lechers more, you know?
Yeah. But bamboo are still kind of cool as like a one-off. Like they make a strongly patterned animal. You're like, here's a bamboo. I'll sell it to a pet person. But
like pinstripe.
Hard to combo with them. Right.
A lot of these, you know? Like even Monsoon, I think you have to find something that's going to change that pattern. It's going to be hard. I think Monsoons look terrible with pastel. You know, like some jeans look fantastic with pastel. Pastel is not a fan of everyone. I tend to like pastel with puzzle. I like it with DG. I like it with chocolate. But it looks terrible with Monsoon.
Yeah, it just destroys too much of it.
Yeah, it like faded it out a lot. I think DG's going to look really good. I don't know. We'll see. There's some cool.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Mouth hugs sell snakes. That is absolutely correct.
a lot of that goes on too.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you had fun and weren't too traumatized by the amount of hemipene talk. But this is how we roll around here. They make me roll around. Yeah. Thank you for coming on. Is there anywhere people can message you to buy snakes? You don't have a YouTube yet, though. Do you have a morph market that's popping right now, or should they DM you on Instagram for more?
Yeah, I do morph market. I usually do like a party, like in the summer, where like a bunch of breeders they come by, they hang out. So if I have the building up and running, we'll do something this summer. I'll put something out there.
That would be fun. You can get invited to Anthony's party. How fun is that? All right, awesome. All right, thanks, chat. Thanks to all the sponsors. Thanks to Andrew, who lost his mind and I think gave away like 20 member lives just for fun, just to have fun. We love that. Well, the auction is a couple days away, Saturday night. Please come and support our boys, Eric, Andrew, and Randall. We love them. Say bye, Anthony. Bye.